Hello everyone and welcome to Sabonis. Today is time for one of the most basic and traditional dishes of Peruvian chifa cuisine. We're going to prepare the classic chicken arroz chaufa, or let's say Peruvian style chicken fried rice. But first, what exactly is chifa? And where does arroz chaufa come from? Let's start at the beginning. The Chinese arrived in Peru mainly through mass immigration starting in 1849 to work as laborers in agriculture and construction, filling the labor shortage that came after the abolition of slavery. As part of their work contracts, they request permission to bring at least their essential vegetables and spices for cooking. The Chinese quickly discovered that in Peru most of their vegetables grew easily, just as in China. And so they introduced several herbs and greens into Peruvian agriculture. By then, Peru already had a rich culinary tradition, and when it blended with Chinese cooking, chifa was born. Chifa refers to both the fusion and Peruvian Chinese cuisine, and the restaurants where this food is served. The word itself comes from the Cantonese phrase chi fang, which means to eat rice, and it became popular in Peru in the early 1900s. Now, arroz chaufa, and yes, that's the name, arroz chaufa, actually originates from China around the years 581 to 618 during the Sui dynasty. That's where chao fang was created, a dish made to use leftover rice mixed with whatever ingredients were available, proteins or vegetables. That is how this practice evolved into the dish we now know as chao fan, which literally means fry or stir-fried rice, and over the time the term chao fan was adapted colloquially in Peru as chaufa. Today, arroz chaufa is recognized as a national dish within Peruvian cuisine. Well, enough history. Let's get cooking. As always, enjoy the video, follow each step, and at the end, I will recap all the ingredients so you can write them down. Okay, you cannot make this rice unless all the ingredients are ready ahead on time, especially because the cooking happens fast and at high heat. So let's start with the base. White rice. Fried rice is made from previously cooked rice, either from a few hours before or ideally from the previous day. This rice should be made only with rice and water, no salt, no oil, no garlic, just rice and water. In the same portions your long-grain rice package recommends to cook it perfectly loose and fluffy. If you cook it an hour before making this dish, that's fine. Just make sure it cools completely. Here I have 2 chicken breasts cut in large cubes. This cut is known among chifa chefs as cai tian, which means chicken cubes. Now let's season the chicken so it can rest. For seasoning, I use chicken bouillon powder, a typical Chinese flavor enhancer. If you are in Peru, you'll find it easily anywhere. For the rest of the world, look at any Asian market. It's an amazing seasoning, definitely worth keeping at home. I found this from Knorr here in the United States, and actually it become written in Chinese too, because it's made for Chinese cooking and it's delicious. So we will add 5 grams of chicken bouillon powder, and here's a Cantonese cooking trick. Add 2.5 grams of cornstarch. What does cornstarch do? It seals the surface of the protein while frying, keeping the juices inside. That means when you eat the rice, the chicken will be extra juicy. Mix everything well, cover it, and refrigerate for 30 minutes. Before continuing with the rest of the ingredients, do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and give me a like. This really helps me to keep sharing Italian and Peruvian cooking tips with you. So far we've seen the rice base and the kaitien, the chicken cubes. Now let's prepare the rest of the ingredients. Let's start with the seasoning mix for the rice. Here we have 10 grams of chicken bouillon powder, 5 grams of sugar and 2 grams of salt. Mix them together, and that's our seasoning for later. Next is the scallion. This aromatic herb from the onion family with long hollow leaves and a mild flavor. We'll chop 2 scallions, keep the white parts in one container and save the green parts for the end. Now, with the white part of the scallion, we'll make our next ingredient. The famous pachicay, used by chifa chefs. Pachicay is an infused oil made with garlic, ginger, and the white part of the scallions. It's a fragrant oil used in small amounts to give dishes that distinctive chifa aroma and flavor. So we will combine the white scallions with 7 grams of finely chopped garlic and 3 grams of finely chopped ginger in a heat-proof bowl. Heat up some oil until it starts smoking, then carefully pour it over the scallion, garlic, and ginger mixture. Use enough oil to cover the mixture by about a finger's width. You will hear it sizzle, and it will be released an amazing chifa aroma. Set the pachicay aside to cool while we use the hot oil to cook the chicken. Add a little oil to the chicken cubes beforehand to prevent them from sticking. Stir and place them into the hot pan. Let them sit without moving so each side can sear. Once you smell the fried chicken aroma and see it turning golden brown, that's the Maillard reaction, the chemical reaction between sugars and amino acids that give browned foods their unique flavor and color. Once all sides are nicely brown, remove the chicken and set it aside. Now for the last ingredient, the eggs. Here we have 5 eggs. Beat them well while heating some fresh oil in a clean pan. We want the eggs to stay bright yellow and white, no browned. We are not making an omelette or a tortilla, just a lightly scrambled egg. Add them to the pan at high temperature, stir gently to break them up, and once they are just cooked, remove and set it aside for later. Now we are ready to make our chicken fried rice. In the same pan, we make the eggs, add the pachicay, then the rice, and the seasoning mix. Stir well. Unfortunately, my wok pan doesn't work on this induction stove, and this pan is a bit small. But don't worry, it will still produce delicious results. See how the sugar gives that light caramelized color to the rice. Add the chicken, including any juices it released. Add the eggs back in. Keep mixing well so everything combines evenly. Now, add 5 milliliters of sesame oil and 5 milliliters of soy sauce. Keep stirring, don't let the rice stick to the bottom, and taste for salt. Remember, always taste. Adjust the salt if necessary, and finally, add the green part of the scallions we saved. Mix again, and we're ready to plate. This dish doesn't need any fancy garnish. It already smells amazing, full of authentic chifa aroma. Use a deep plate, serve a couple of spoonfuls, and there you have it, arroz chaufa, the Peruvian chifa style chicken fried rice. Now, time to taste it.
Wow.
This is good. Let's recap the ingredients for 4 portions. For the protein, 2 chicken breasts, 5 grams chicken bouillon powder, 2.5 grams cornstarch. For the seasoning mix, 10 grams chicken bouillon powder, 5 grams sugar, 2 grams salt. For the pachicai, white part of 2 scallions, 7 grams finely chopped garlic, 3 grams finely chopped ginger. For the main preparation, 4 grams, 2 cups cooked long grain white rice, 5 eggs, 5 milliliters soy sauce, 5 milliliters sesame oil, green part of 2 scallions, the protein, the seasoning mix, and the pachicai. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and that you make it at home. It's an affordable dish, and the tricks you've learned here work for any fried rice, chicken, beef, shrimp, pork, any kind you like. Don't forget to comment and tell me how it turned out, or ask me if there's any special recipe you'd like me to bring next time. I'll see you in the next video, and remember what Nonna Saboni always said. Eating is to nourish yourself, but eating well is a beautiful way to love yourself. Arrivederci!